Welcome everyone to the next part of your product development journey. So in this video, we'll be looking into mini flow works and story maps. So we'll go through a quick overview, look at the thin slice workflow, where we will be creating a mini workflow using persona aims and persona aims examples. We go through a quick example on that, and then we will look into story maps. So in the previous video, we briefly touched on the product development journey that you're currently on and the way in which we understand our users through personas, mini workflows, a story map, and through creating prototypes. And all these are done before we even write a single line of code. You need to keep in mind that building the wrong features costs you valuable time, and in a work environment, it will cost the company money as well. We also covered the process of creating personas for your capstone projects, which you should have done by now. So in this video, we'll be continuing on our journey with our focus being on mini workflows and story maps. So in the pre-work, you answered the questions, what is a workflow or flowchart diagram? So let us do a quick recap here. So workflows or flow chart diagrams are like visual roadmaps for processes or systems. So they show us a step-by-step journey of how things get done and how decisions and interactions are made. So these diagrams are special pictures with lines and maps that task out information and decisions. So flowcharts give us a quick snapshot of how things work. So it's easy to talk to with other people. People use these charts in all sorts of jobs like making software or managing projects. So flowcharts help us spot slowdowns and help us see which places we can improve in and where things start and end. So the pictures include diamonds, which are for making choices, ovals showing us the start and end point, and arrows showing us the direction in which the progress is going. So flowcharts also help us chat better, make work smoother, and help us pick the best options. You were also asked to watch a video answering this question and may have come across very long techniques of creating workflows. But here in this video, we will go through a very simplified version of creating a workflow for your already created personas and just walking them through the use of your application. But first, we need to determine the personas, what the persona's aims are. So when determining our persona aims, we need to first discover what does the persona want to do and what do they want to see on the application. And we need to list 3 things. We also need to keep in mind what do they need to do for that information to appear, and then how does that information change over time. So first thing first, once you have an answer for these questions, you can add the aims in the green box that you see on the screen here. So your persona aims will be listed up here with the 3 things that are significant for them. So the 3 things that they see and can do on your application. And then once we have done that, we can then create a mini workflow. So an order of how they will be making use of the application. So once we have discovered our persona's aims, we can then work on the mini workflow. So let us do a quick example of a persona aim. So if in the previous video, you were introduced to 2 personas, Sylvia and Peter. So we will continue using them in this example as well. If you need a refresher, please go back to the previous video on personas to remind yourselves of who they are. So here we'll be looking at what they aim to see and do when using the application. So our first persona, Peter, the PE teacher. So what are the 3 things that Peter can see or do on the app. So first thing we discovered is that Peter can create custom fitness challenges. He can host virtual group workouts, and he can also provide health and nutrition tips. Sylvia, the social worker, on the other hand, she can see personalized training and guidance. Secondly, is community interaction and support. And the third feature for her is workout training and reminders. It is important to note that the aims of the personas work together but from different perspectives. For example, Sylvia wants personalized training and guidance, while Peter wants to create custom fitness challenges. So now you're in a good position to think about the persona's needs to achieve that aim. So to create our mini workflow, we are going to use Peter's aims. So we already did the first step where we discovered our persona aims and we listed the three persona aims for Peter. So now we will add the aims to the next template, which is the mini workflow over here. So in the mini workflow, we need to think about what information will be on the screen, what information needs to be entered, or what action needs to be taken for the persona to achieve their aim. And then lastly, we need to think about what will be on the next screen. So using these three aims over here, we will add them to our mini workflow as our titles and then break down what our persona will be seeing on their screen. So let us do another example of Peter's mini workflow. So for his first aim, we said that Peter wants to create custom fitness challenges. So what information will he see on the screen? So he'll see a header, he'll see a screen to create and upload challenge. There will be some input fields, some submit buttons, and a footer. So the information that needs to be entered or the action that Peter needs to take is that he will need to add the video or text. Based on whatever way he will be constructing the challenge, whether it is a video or text, that is what he will be adding. And then he will then add the title and description of the challenge, and then he will submit it. And then on the next screen, he will see the video. He will see that the video or text has been uploaded successfully, and then he will have the options to edit the challenge that he posted or delete it, and then he will also have an option to invite people to the challenge. So looking at his second aim, it is to host virtual group workouts. So the information on the screen, he will see a screen to start or schedule a live session. So he will have two options of hosting his virtual group workouts. So he could either start a live session or actually schedule a session. And then the action that he needs to take, he needs to allow people to join. And then he is also able to add the live session details and duration. And then on the next screen, he will see who joined, comments, and people's reactions on the live session. And then the third aim was to provide health and nutrition tips. So the information he'll see on the screen to see community comments and health questions. So on his end, Peter, he will see all the community's comments and questions and whatever. And then the action that he will take is that he can comment or then post his insights, share resources and tips on the platform. And then on the next screen he will see the feedback from the people who are engaging with his content, and the feedback can either be negative or positive, which will in the end help him grow either way. So this is how you come about creating your mini workflows for your personas using the persona aims. So Now that we have a mini workflow in place and you know what the aims of your personas are, we can move on to creating story maps. So, what are story maps? You were asked this question in the pre-work template that you had to do as well. So, I am just going to do a quick recap on what story maps are. Story mapping is like making a to-do list for building an app. You list all the main things the app should do and then break each of those things into smaller tasks. You decide which tasks are most important to do first, and it helps everyone in the team know what to build and when. And as you go along, you add new bits and changes to the map to match the app's growth. It's a smart way to make sure everyone's on the same page with your understanding of what you're building and to ensure that you are building the right thing. So, simply put, a story map is the view of your persona's journey through the application you're building. In the story map, you cover the capabilities, which are things your persona wants to do, and the features, which are things we need to build to achieve the capability. When looking at the things all your personas want to do, you can group similar features together and identify in which work cycle you want to create them. And you can do all this using the mini workflow we just completed. So this is what a story map, so this is what the story map template will look like. So at the top here, you'll be listing all the capabilities. So the outcome, what does your persona want to see or do to achieve using the application? And then features would be what are the steps, what are the functionalities that your persona will go through in order to achieve their main outcome. Thin slicing refers to the practice of evaluating a product's essential aspects by examining a small representative portion of it. So, applying the MVP, we explore the heart of a simple version of a product by checking how it feels, how easy it is to use, how reliable it is, and what it can do. So, in the context of thin slicing and evaluating an MVP, it's often good practice to consider usability and functionality first. These aspects are fundamental to ensuring that the product is not only functional, but also provides a positive user experience. If a product isn't easy to use and doesn't perform its intended functions effectively, it's unlikely to gain traction, even if other emotional and reliability factors are strong. So it's very important to choose where our focus is for maximum impact. So always think about which section will you build first so your persona can accomplish one of their aims. So let's move to story mapping. Referring back to the mini workflow we just created using persona aims, we will be using those aims to help us create our story map for each of our personas. So we will be looking at the journey of Peter Ramirez through the application. So first, Peter wants to create custom fitness challenges. So in order for him to achieve this, we need to identify what he can do on the application and what features are needed by him. So first feature for this to happen is Peter can upload the challenge. The steps to achieve this is he selects the fitness challenge he wants to upload, he adds the challenge title and description, and then uploads the challenge. Once the challenge has been successfully uploaded, Peter can then invite people to the challenge by allowing users to join and engage in the fitness challenge. The next part of Peter's journey on the application is that he wants to host virtual group workouts. For him to achieve this, there is a feature for Peter to start a live session. where people can join if it's public or join via a shared link. Peter also has the feature where he can schedule a live session specifying the time, date, duration, and the description of the workout taking place. With this feature where he can schedule live sessions, he can also see who will join the scheduled sessions, and he will know beforehand the number of people to expect and therefore be able to prepare himself accordingly. Through the app, Peter wants to provide health and nutrition tips, and he can achieve that by sharing his insights, resources, health tips, and many more with his community. So now let us create a story map for Sylvia's journey while using the application, using one of her aims as an example. So Sylvia wants to track workouts and get reminders. So through using the application, Sylvia can track her fitness, where she can see how frequent her training progress has been and ways to improve. Sylvia can also set reminders for workouts. So here, she can see the scheduled sessions and select the one that works best for her, and schedule it. Um, um, and a reminder will be set for her. Through using the mini workflow, we created story maps that help map out the road or journey of the user, in this case being Peter and Sylvia, on how they will be using the application to meet their aims. So let's have a look at some ordering principles that we can keep in mind. So, which features should the dev team start with? So, the work should be ordered by most difficult or most interesting. So, the first thing you should do before you start building is get a basic shell or skeleton of your application, and then start by doing the most interesting or difficult features first, and then do the easy and boring features later. For example, a login screen. It's like eating greens first and then saving the reward, the meat, for later because it's easier and quicker to complete. So for hackathon or capstone style projects, we advise you guys to never build login screens first because it's not interesting. Or even better, you can do it last. So focus on the main and core features of your application first, and then do everything else later. So now we will be sending you off to go and create your own story maps. So using your persona aims, you need to identify the key features um, of your application. So the information viewed and captured for your persona. And then in your collaboration slides, you guys can use the templates provided and start creating your story maps for each of the personas that you have created. If you have any questions on story maps or workflows, or anything that you're curious about regarding this section, you feel more than welcome to drop a message in the Agile Rapid Skills Acquisition channel, or if you want to base it based on what you and your team are doing, you can drop the question in your capstone group. Thank you guys, and we have come to the end of this session. I hope you learned a lot and have fun creating your own story maps. Thank you.